The alien universe is mostly centered around the xenomorph creature, alongside some Marines or scientists, either working for Weyland-Yutani or some other organization. But there's one human character that is shown in a few stories, and he really stands out from the standard Marine. His name is Herc Mondo. He's a mercenary, and says that he is a self-proclaimed professional bug hunter. I think he was first seen in issue number 6 of the story Aliens Colonial Marines. He was on the front cover and also on the inside cover. He does not like authority. He does his own thing, running around shooting aliens. He's all about the big weapons and blasting bugs. He even has xenomorph tongues wrapped around his waist, and a handle for his bladed weapon in the shape of possibly a chest burster. During the story of Aliens Colonial Marines in issue number 6, he shows up, but only for a few frames. He would save Vasquez from an alien as she is pinned behind a box. He pulls out a large weapon and aims, and you can see he has drinks attached underneath it in case he needs a quick sip during combat. So anyways, he would blast the alien and gets a lot of joy out of it. He then apologizes for stealing the alien from the Marine. It's because he has not taken a bug down in months. His name is Herc Mondo. If they ever need a favor, then he owes them big. He is a living legend. There were stories about him in boot camp. They say he took on an entire alien hive by himself. People say he's a psycho because he actually enjoys this kind of work. He would not appear for the rest of the story, but did get 2 separate comic books about him. The first story is called Mondo Pest. It was released in 1994. It starts off with Mondo's ship landing on a planet and stopping an alien to save someone named Nate. The young person would ask Herc for help in finding his uncle, and Herc would accept. He would proceed to hail Colony Ariza, requesting landing instructions, but they open fire upon him and his ship goes down. When he's out of his ship, Herc would meet with Simon Plowright, the colony surveyor, and the colony leader, Dr. Kelly Ann Page. They sent a distress signal, but only he showed up. Perhaps it's because they cannot pay with credits, but they offer him some land if he can help them. Simon would then offer to repair his ship. Then Nate would point out the cave pit where aliens are coming from. They heard a story that Herc broke out of the Marine Psych lockup just to hunt aliens. Herc would go to his ship, pick up a huge bag of weapons, and agree to help. A few of them would go along with Herc and enter the hole. Inside, Dr. Kelly would find some layers of magnesium, which would be a fire hazard. They would find a survivor within, but even he knows there's no point to save him now. A pack of aliens would surround the group, and a battle would start. This is where Herc starts to unload his weapons, firing off many rounds at all the aliens. One alien would sneak up on Herc, pushing him against the wall, but Herc would react fast enough to catch the alien's tongue with just his hand, but the alien would bite his arm off. He screams in pain, but continues to blast the alien. This alien would survive the shots and run off with Herc's hand, but this would not be enough to deter him. Herc would push on. He would find more survivors. One person tells him, "Do it," and Herc would finish them off. Uncle Hank was amongst the people Herc had shot down. They were all doomed anyways. More aliens would show up, and Herc would reload his large weapon and blast his way out. Dr. Page, Nate, and Herc would escape on a vehicle heading back to the base. Simon would refuse to open the door for the risk of compromising the security of the compound. Before he can turn on the missile system, aliens climb over the wall and start attacking. One alien would find Simon and pin him to the floor. Herc would take control of the vehicle he's in and bust through the gate. Aliens are already attacking the people inside. He would pull out his bladed weapon and take down a few aliens. As 2 more aliens approach him, Herc reaches into the vehicle, grabs his flamethrower. One alien gets burnt, and the others would run away. But during this encounter, Nate was taken by the aliens. When the attack is over, Herc would wrap his knife to his severed left hand, now putting that arm to good use. He plans to go back to the hive. Once inside, he would come across a man-made egg farm, 16 in total, but only one was left. He would get a glimpse of aliens moving around, and Nate was held captive. Herc would try to count how many aliens he took down and how many are left, but he ran out of fingers and loses count. It's not long until the last remaining egg would open, so he rushes in, guns blazing and screaming a bunch of nonsense, firing off his weapon, taking down 2 aliens, but the facehugger emerges and runs off. He grabs a hold of Nate, and as he turns his back, another alien scratches him. Herc would hold that alien against the wall, and he mentions his severed hand. "What did you do with my hand? Did you eat it? I liked that hand." Herc would then chop off this alien's hand and shove it down his throat. You can tell Herc is missing his left hand as he releases all his anger upon this alien. Herc and Nate would escape the hive and make it back to the compound. They think all the aliens are wiped out. They offer Herc to stay and help, but he refuses because he's not a farmer. Simon would then show up. He's still alive after his encounter with the alien. Herc would grab him and impale his knife into him, telling Simon to reveal his plan. He is the one who brought the alien eggs here. He was the one who sent those people into the hive. They had no chance. Simon was trying to get rid of everyone on the colony. Then he would steal the magnesium. Herc would pull his blade out of Simon's chest and rip out a queen chestburster at the same time, then proceeds to crush it under his boot. After this, he would hop back onto his ship, say goodbye to everyone, and leave the planet. This would be the end of this story, but there is another one we can look at. I think this next story is the last appearance of Herc Mondo. It was released in 1996 with the title of Mondo Heat. So let's continue the story of Herc Mondo. He would arrive at the Gimo Industrial Settlement, which is built on a volcano planet side. The magma within will provide them with valuable minerals. The weather is fairly warm with nice wildlife, but it also has a xenomorph problem. Mondo Pest was called in by a man looking for his daughter, Kayla, and her friend Susie. He wants them found before the Colonial Marines show up to disinfect. His son will take Herc and fly him around searching. As they pass a tower, they can see a flare left behind. Someone is down there. They can see aliens on the tower. Herc would begin firing his weapon, but one alien jumps towards the ship and pulls him down. When he recovers from the fall, he fights back by just kicking the alien. More aliens would then appear, and they chase after Herc. He continues to run up the stairs, gets the door open, and goes inside. He's safe for now. Within this room, he finds Kayla and Susie. They've been hiding here for a while, but now the aliens found them. It's only a matter of time until they break in. The only weapon they have is a pistol, so Herc has to come up with a plan. It looks like he would detach cables from some equipment in the room, then let the women carry the power pack. He's got to work on this fast, as the aliens are starting to break in. Herc would end up holding this massive weapon. He's ready for the aliens. As they charge towards him, he fires the weapon. It releases a huge energy wave that destroys aliens instantly. The blast would leave a huge hole in the wall for them to exit. They make their way down the stairs, blasting their way through any alien that approaches them. One alien jumps over Herc, aiming at the women behind him. Herc would punch the alien with his left hand. The impact would splatter acid over his left hand. It burns away the flesh to reveal a cybernetic hand. They would try to run for the freight shuttle that's nearby, but more aliens would emerge from underneath, breaking the power cables. His weapon will now have a more limited power source. Herc would jump to the platform below and blast the aliens from underneath. The two women would fall into a pool of liquid down below and run off. The aliens would have their attention on Herc. As he continues destroying aliens with his massive cannon, he would make his way into the facility, then blast the surrounding areas to block the magma vent. The brother Xavier would go check what's wrong. Meanwhile, the two women make their way to the nearby ship, fighting off aliens with the only pistol they have. They board and escape. Inside the facility, Herc would be approached by a queen alien. He tries to fire the cannon, but the fuel is now empty. The only thing he can do is ram the weapon into the Queen's face, pushing her over the edge and into the magma below. A rope would drop down to pick up Herc. He holds on and is pulled out of the facility. He boards the ship to see that Kayla and Susie saved him. But the ship soon comes under fire. It's the brother Xavier. He's not only shooting at the aliens, but actually trying to shoot down their ship to get rid of his sister and the others. He reveals that he is the one who brought the alien here. He used them hoping to get rid of Kayla and anyone else. A swarm of birds would cover his ship, then a rock is thrown towards the pilot seat, causing him to crash. But he is able to make it out on foot, so Kayla lowers her ship. Xavier would start to panic as aliens would get closer to him. He would ask Kayla to open the door to her ship, but she refuses. The aliens would chase down Xavier and overwhelm him. The ship takes off, and she leaves her brother to his fate. Her father is relieved that Kayla and Susie are safe. Just as Herc is about to leave, the Colonial Marines show up, but they're too late. All they can do is mop up what's left behind. And that is the last story of Herc Mondo. This character is kind of similar to Duke Nukem. His stories tend to have more action, some funny lines, and beautiful women. It tends to steer away from the horror aspect, which is what Alien is mostly about, but it was a fun character to learn about and I liked it. I don't think it was mentioned who this Sally person was on his tattoo, unless I missed it somewhere. So that's it for this video. If you want to see more content like this, then subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.